Education is about empowerment. It is, as we agree, beside opposition, it is more than just content. But we also feel that an important aspect of education is in content, is in knowledge acquisition. And first, we would like to clarify something in which we feel that side opposition has always maligned us, it has misunderstood us. It is this: academic results do not mean to absolute results. It is not the number of A's. It is how you can, from the base student, from someone with learning difficulties, be able to get better grades and stretch his own potential to actually extend out within his potential reach. That is the point of education. It is not about absolute grades. It is about value addedness. And this is the point that we're trying to make. That as the side opposition always says, that no, there will be no teachers that want to go to lesser schools because students may not do so well and therefore there will not be an incentive. Our point is that education is about value addedness. Therefore, if you have a good teacher and you have a bad teacher, a good teacher will look at a student, evaluate him or her as he or she is, and to see how much can I value add to him, how much can I no thank you, how much can I add to him, how much can I develop him. And that is the point in which we feel that on-site proposition, we are very happy to incentivize good teachers because on the point that they will be able to add value. And it's not just about adding content or knowledge. Education, through content, through knowledge, through self-achievement, and through self-empowerment, and through partnerships of empowerment, no thank you, will lead to the elevation of self-esteem and dignity. And that is the entire point of education, which I feel the side opposition has not understood. No thank you. The second point is this: money. What a wonderful word. It is necessary, but it is not sufficient. And that is the point that we realize. The line of best fit that my second speaker has talked about is this: there may be some passionate teachers, but most teachers or most job seekers are influenced by a series of factors, by bread and butter issues, and of course job satisfaction and passion. Now what we are saying that these two are not binary divides, these two are not mutually exclusive. How can you say that I'm totally motivated by money and another is totally motivated by altruism? This is not true, and therefore we say that our policy does not negate this possibility of a convergence of passion, of job satisfaction, and of monetary value, and therefore attracting top brains and people with good hearts into the education system. And this fulfills the fundamental tenets of education. Yes, madam.
Then do you not agree that you have to change the way that teachers are admitted into the industry and that your policy does not solve the root problem?
Madam, may we ask one question? When have we ever said that this was a mutually exclusive proposal, that this is not part of a complementary? It is just that we believe that while there can be an ostentatious promulgation and advertisement of passion and job satisfaction, we believe that bread and butter issues are also at the heart of what one decides what job he would like to achieve and would like to go into. The third point is this: they say that, oh, teachers will be all about drilling students, doing 10-year series, and just doing over and over, giving them remedial classes when they are so tired because there is a monetary incentive to excellent results. And we say two things. One, once again, education is about academic value addedness. It is not just about rote learning. And secondly, if it is a problem of rote learning, it is a problem of the system. It is syllabic change, which is a different, it is curriculum change, which is for a different debate. And it is up to the purview of the examination board rather than the teacher himself or herself. Because we believe that while the teacher can be able to achieve grades, we also believe in holistic education where the teacher shares from his or her own experience and is fully conscious that education is about holism. And while we say that monetary incentive will help to perhaps attract teachers with this sort of aspirations, we believe, no thank you, we believe that this is not the end all, all. The fourth point is this: youth on-site opposition have already considered the fact that teachers need encouragement, that teachers need rewards. And it's not just mere rewards, and it's not just mere encouragement from the students. There needs to be a systemic acknowledgement, a systemic endorsement that is qualified and that is standardized across the entire system. And we think that our solution is an optimal one in order to give a systemic endorsement, a systemic stamp of confidence in the teacher's abilities. And therefore, we say that money is important, and as I've proven in the earlier point, that money is not something in which will be caused, it will not cause a mutual divide between that of education and that of being merely mercenary. The fifth point is this. What is required within the education sector? Now, are you saying that the educator is the one-size-fits-all Mr. Soffit or Mr. Soffit or? No. We think that education has a variety of needs, that the student needs to be inculcated in moral values, yes, and also be taught into and brought into the world of intellectual inquiry. And we feel that you should not place such a burden on educators. Why? Because what you have described to us on side proposition is that this house should give a monetary incentive to school counselors. Education system needs to fulfill a variety of needs, and we think that it is not fair to actually temper value systems onto the role of an educator. It is a school counselor that what you are suggesting, and therefore they work incongruent and they work concurrently in order to deliver and to be able to give a student the full education experience that he or she deserves. The next is this. What is the value of education? Education necessitates that it is about the empowerment of the individual. It is within society. But within society, there are other entities. If you are so concerned about moral values, it is about going to a church, or it is about the parents sending a student to a school with certain moral and religious affiliations. And therefore, in a secular context, what the educator can do is to be able to promote self-esteem, self-dignity, the independence of thought, and the ability and the enhanced capacity in which the educator value adds. And therefore, that allows the student to reach his or her own full potential. And therefore, along all these points, I have demonstrated why my side's policy is an optimal solution. And that's all the arguments, while they may seem to be tangentially related to the case, these are not true even as we closely interrogate the ideas. So along all this point, please go to side proposition.
The government whip has made it problematic for me to come out and speak, because the first and second speaker of the proposition proposes a grade-based incentivization, while the whip comes up and says, no, now we are all about the empowerment of an individual. And how am I supposed to debate against the change of policy from first speaker to third speaker? But I'll try anyway. First speaker and second speaker says that we are going to peg grades to how much a teacher receives. Meaning, if my student gets an A, I'll get maybe say $500. If my student gets a B, I'll get $400. It's a very bad system to adopt, because now teachers synonymous with educators now become synonymous with businessmen. How can I attract an A? How can I make a student get an A? What is my aim then as an educator would be to force my students to study really hard in order for him or her to get an A. And we find that that is not the point of education. No, thank you, sir. Thus, we believe that money should not be the only incentive that is used to incentivize teachers. And I would like to thank the second speaker for bringing up Harlem and Detroit in his speech, saying that schools are closing down due to lack of funds, and he finds that that is a gross act of injustice. But I tell you now, if we incentivize teachers with money, if we give them a cash benefit pegged to the students' development, these schools will no longer be closing down due to a lack of funds. It will be closing down due to a lack of teachers. No teacher would want to teach in a school where the students are performing poorly. They would rather go to states where the students are of a certain standard, where they are actually able to study. No, thank you, sir. And the teachers will no longer feel a need, or the teachers will neglect states like Harlem, like Detroit. And when the teachers neglect states, it becomes an even grosser act of injustice when teachers no longer want to teach at the school simply because the students cannot learn well.
Point, sir.
Yes.
So you have consistently ignored the fact that we have also stated in our policy that it can be an evaluation of the value add a teacher gives to a student, in which we are pegging the incentivization of their salary.
Thank you, sir. So now what side proposition now proposes is that individual students are ranked individually, and as long as the teacher values an individual student, he gets a pay rise. side proposition did not show us how they are going to evaluate or rate a single student by student. And there's no way, and we find that it's highly impossible for the system to be based on individual, because everybody is different. Nobody is the same. Say I will do better in sports. Thus, if you push me to my highest potential in sports, then you get a monetary reward. If this other student is very good, is poor in studies, but thank you sir, and he's pushed to do well in studies, and the teacher gets monetary reward, we find that there is a highly impossible system to implement. There is no way that such a system can be implemented if students are going to be rated individually, and we find that it's going to be very time consuming. It's going to be a waste of time ranking these students in the first place, and then after that making there comes the problem of who is going to rate these students, who is going to give them the tag of like to what extent you are pushed, your teacher gets a certain amount of money. No, thank you, sir. And if the teachers themselves have to rate these students, then it will also be another problem. Thus, the policy that the proposition proposes is problematic, and there is no way that it is implementable. Now, I have a problem with money being an incentive. Yes, sir.
It's really stated quite clearly that the third party evaluators who are independent, who evaluate the second year and second level. We don't think there's anything wrong with valuing a person based on this comparative competition, say sports or arts.
Okay, third party evaluation, meaning they are going to have a benchmark for every single student to be rated by. But then everybody is different. Haven't you been listening to me? No student is the same. There's no way that you can use a one yardstick approach to defining every single student as to what the student's value is in the education system. Thus, what the proposition proposes, right, is actually sidelining those that the teachers cannot evaluate. So the teachers will no longer have an incentive to teach students that they have no potential to evaluate, and that becomes problematic because, say, I'm a student who is going to do very poorly in sports, do very poorly in my education, do very poorly in everything. And probably the only saving grace that I have is that I'm going to have integrity, I'm going to have honesty. But these are not important. That's what side proposition says. These are honesty, integrity, all these are not important. Grades, things that are measurable, things that are tangible. Those are the things that proposition find important. Meaning, thus they have put a tangible reward to a tangible goal. And we believe education is not all about the tangibility. It's not all about how a person, what value that person will have in society. And now I have a problem with money being incentive because it is problematic if the goal is to attract top talents into teaching. First, there will be two problems. Firstly, the motivation of teachers I have already covered, meaning they will now prioritize results and over morals and over the need of a student. Proposition has said that it is not mutually exclusive. No, thank you. Results and things that are lesser need, meaning sports, meaning other things that you have to do in schools, morals and everything. Results have a higher. No, thank you, sir. Results is core because we believe that it is very hard for the opposition to debate. It is not solely based on the academic results of the student. But now that they have brought up all the various other things that such as sports, the intangible stuff, they said that they will have a third party evaluator to come and evaluate. And we find that it's problematic because no student is the same and we have handled it. And now the second problem I have with money being an incentive because the level of money that proposition proposes will only be effective if they are going to provide teachers and educators with as much money as the lawyers, as the engineers, as the doctors. Because if they are not going to provide that same amount of money that they are going to provide to the lawyers, to the engineers, what these people will do is simply they will still go and be a lawyer, they will still go be a lawyer, they will still go be an engineer, because these careers still pay more. So the concept that proposition goes with is people who can't teach. And we find that is the problem in itself. The problem is not how much the money the teacher receives, rather the problem is that teachers in America, they are not qualified enough to be teachers. So what side opposition proposes is more of a kind of education system that's seen in Singapore, an education system that is where teachers are rated, where teachers are actually, there's a system for the teachers to improve themselves, there's actually training given to the teachers, and we find that is more important, and that will solve the problem rather than using money as an incentive. So go with side opposition.